And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word. Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Fired up, folky, prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, get pumped. Get pumped with us. We're pumped with you. Excited to be here on a Monday. Shout out to the great Jennifer Morris. We were in here today, if you heard us, about an hour or so ago. Working on some new stuff for her. She's the best. We're ready to roll. It's a Monday. It's a 4th of July week. Laura told me several weeks ago to take off this week. But that's just not in my nature. Not because I hate you. Special thanks to Bino and the chef and Bri for letting me have a day off on Friday. Race fans, race fans, race fans. And don't get behind the 8 ball here in these parts allergy-wise. If you get behind the 8 ball and your nose is as big as mine, it's a major issue. But I digress because I love you. And we're here today to do our thing. And our thing is what we're going to do. And today on the program, by the way, special shout out to Danny White. Congratulations to Danny White, who is Sports Business Journal's AD of the Year. And Ben Portnoy, who wrote the piece on him, the Sports Business Journal, says that he arrived in Knoxville amid a flurry of chaos, and in 4 years, he has Tennessee humming like a Ferrari with no intention of slowing down. And so Danny White is Sports Business Journal's AD of the Year, which is a huge honor in the profession of professional sports and high-level college sports. Sports Business Journal is a highly respected publication. Now, it's voted on basically by a party of just a few. It's not like one of these sanctioned college awards. Basically, it's somebody's opinion, but aren't all these things somebody's opinion? So it wasn't a peer-to-peer award, but still, it's quite prominent and quite prestigious. So congratulations to Danny White for that. Orange Throat today over at tclub.team, where we have a 5,000-word blog for you. Yes, we're at the end of June, and yes, we have a 5,000-word blog for you, complete with Orange Throat's take on what we're going to see football-wise, a glass-half-full take instead of a glass-half-empty take. And then our recruiting expert, X, talking about the huge shot in the arm that Tennessee got over the weekend as they got maybe a legendary commitment. Let's hope it holds. Legend Bay, tremendous athlete. The word I get on him, which is kind of why X wrote, if he makes it here, whether or not the guy makes it here, it's still a shot in the arm. It's still credibility to get a guy like that to commit. Obviously, you want to make it here. Obviously, you got to have playmakers if you're going to win. Obviously, you need great players that are satellite-type players, gadget-type players, as X wrote today, especially in a Josh Heupel offense where, these more versatile guys could be very dangerous. But in the meantime, I introduce both Brian Hartman and Bino Jeff Henderson. Guys, thank you for allowing me to have a day on Friday. I hope both of you are well.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, Tony. Yes, doing good. And somehow we're in the last day of June. I don't know how, but that's where we're at.
It's pretty wild. Today we're going to go.
So, Legend Bay and Landon Mack. With names like that, they can play.
I'm going to go football only today, but Brian brought up Landon Mack, who is the pitcher from Rutgers. Here's the backstory on him. And we said it on the air because we keep it real. 1 week ago, he was going to LSU. Top of last week, Tony Vitello showed up at his house. And what choice did Landon Mack have? Tony Vols went into the man's living room last week. Flashed his pearly whites at him. Flashed some green coming off his pearly whites. What choice? What choice do you have? I mean, it's like Brian Hartman Celtics, the green and the white, a winning combination. Right, Bri? When Tony Vols flashes those pearly whites at you, you forget about it. Forget about it. You melt. You melt in the man's presence. Melt, I say. So that's the first example of Tennessee and LSU. Tennessee going head-to-head on a high-ticket item with LSU and beating them to the punch. Bino, that's the young man we believe. Ben McKee believes. That's the young man when I was interviewing Tony, and he decided to jump in and just do an interview with us while they were hosting several athletes. That's the young man that was sitting right next to him, and Tony looked right over at him. Because before we went on, the young man's family was there, and Tony said to me, hey, give me like a minute. I got to take some photos with some people, and I could hear him moving around in the background, and they were taking photos with his family and with some other people that were up there in that office. And it sounded like they had a party going on around here, a celebration to last throughout the year. And so, Bino, I don't play with Tony Vols. Do you play with him? I don't bet against him, Bino, even though I said last week they weren't getting that kid.
No, absolutely not, Tony. He's doing with Tennessee's baseball program what we've recently seen Saban do with Alabama's football program, and what Smart's doing with Georgia's football program. Just a relentless, unbelievable recruiter.
So let's set the scene for today, because we're not going to talk any baseball today, nor are we going to talk any basketball. Today's a day where the calendar's getting ready to flip, and we're getting ready to get into the nitty-gritty today on the show. It might not feel like it right now, because it literally feels like a convection oven outside in East Tennessee. I don't know about you guys. I went to try and get a walk-in. We played down at Calhoun's on the River Friday night. I've never been more happy in my life to see my equipment get wet than the other night. Sexy Lancey looks over, and the wind is blowing. And Calhoun's is enclosed now, but they've got a roof out there. And where they had us setting up playing music towards the back of, right under the roof, but the rain started coming down, blowing kind of sideways. Guys, I've never been happier to see rain. Bino, you know how good that rain felt here Friday night? Did you get a chance to, just kind of feel how good it felt to cool off for half a second? Because that was a brutal
Yeah,
week. Brutal week, Beanstar, we just went through.
No question, Tony. I played in it weekend before last in Roanoke, and it's a rare week when I don't have some type of fitness activity 2 or 3 times, 4 times during the week. I came off of that weekend and I just said, I ain't doing nothing this week. So the entire part of last week, I didn't hit a tap. And every time it rains now, I go out and watch it.
I went out with lovely Laura the other day, and we stopped and had a little bite to eat, and we're hanging out on Monday and said, let's go to the park. Shout out to my friends that keep that park looking incredible out there at Lakeshore Park. And, Bino, it was so hot at 7:30 that there were about 5 people there. Thank God nobody had pets out. It was so hot you couldn't see straight at 7:30 at night. Felt like it was 95 degrees. And then Saturday evening, I thought, I'm going to go sit out and play guitar a little bit. And I tried to go outside, and I was like, there's no way. I mean, our people, God bless people that work outside in that weather. You are tougher than I'll ever be, okay? Than I'll ever be. But let's get to the football front. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So Throaty says, Big Orange tumblers today, we're going to approach them as half full. And I'm going to ask you today, we're going to go through some bullet points here. You tell me what's true here and what's false, okay? The first truth, in the spirit of glass half full, is Joey Aguilar will etch his name into Tennessee lore as he leads the Vols to victory September 13th and breaks Kirby Smart's 8-game win streak over the Vols and 4 straight over Heupel. Bino, Jeff Henderson, are you buying, selling, or holding that from Orange Throat right now? Where are you on that?
Right now, I will sell beating Georgia.
Glenn Ellerby, bullet point number 2, will have a better offensive line. Lance Hurd in a contract year. Throaty says that his information is that he's having a very good offseason. His weight control compared to last season is much better. Meanwhile, transfer guard Wendell Moe looks like a beast. I guess his name is Moy. Is it Moe or Moy? Whatever. Satterwhite wins the center job. So transfer Sam Pendleton can play the other guard. And then we have a true freshman in David Sanders who will best James Campbell at right tackle. He says especially by midseason. And then a homegrown offensive lineman. Jesse Perry, God forbid, will actually be along with Satterwhite. We're actually going to have some homegrown offensive linemen on the offensive line. Bino, are you buying, selling, or trading that the offensive line's better this year?
I'm buying that.
Wide receiver, Throaty writes. Consistent buzz about Braylon Staley in the slot. 4-star pick out of Aiken, South Carolina. 2024 class. Didn't get into the rotation as a true freshman last year. He said spring games can be fool's gold, but I like what I saw out of Rodarius Jackson. Looked like a football player. Bino, wide receiver, buying, selling, or trading?
I'm buying that, Tony. I've been out on that limb for a while.
Deshaun Bishop, my breakout pick at running back. Nothing against Peyton Lewis. He says there's something different about number 18. Bino, buying, selling, or trading Deshaun Bishop?
I love Deshaun Bishop. He's a football player.
And then finally, bullet point number 5, Seth Luttrell. Does he bring toughness to the offensive side of the ball? Former Oklahoma fullback, a teammate of Hype at Norman. His stint as offensive coordinator last year at Oklahoma was an absolute disaster. I mean, he got that thing down like it looked like the Hindenburg by the time it came to the ground. No offense to him. And now he's here. Apparently this guy's got a lot of edge about him. And Heupel has a heavy inside. Because the kid he has an offensive coordinator doesn't have gravitas. He just doesn't. No offense to him. I didn't do it. And he doesn't. Heupel doesn't have... Heupel's not a good bad cop. We've seen that. He's just not a very confrontational guy. Word is this Luttrell guy is bringing some edge to him. Bean, are you buying or selling or trading that acquisition is bringing some edge back to this deal?
Can I hold, Tony? Can I just don't know. I don't know enough about demand to say one way or another.
So the quarterback, Bino, passes on in terms of being good enough to beat Georgia. Offensive line, he is buying. Wide receiver, being better, buying. Deshaun Bishop winning the job, buying. And Seth Luttrell's a hold. We'll come back.
Yes.
Here is your assignment today. Rank for me the likelihood of each bullet point occurring. Maybe you're all in on Joey football, but you're out on the wide receivers. Maybe you think new eyes on the offense will help. Maybe you think, like Bino, you want to wait and see. Maybe you think the move with Luttrell's no count. Tell me about it. What about the new offensive line? Better than last year? Will they excel? Is it going to take a while for this to come in and come into focus? 865-200-5402 is the number if you want to jump in. Let's talk some football today. And that's what we're doing on this Monday, on a day where the MAC is back at Tennessee. The MAC is back. And we come back on the other side and get your calls in. I'm going to get Brian Hartman's thoughts on this and all the above. As we continue, it is your Monday edition after this.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team started at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime, online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's national award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. We talking bow today as we welcome you back, 865-200-5402 on this Monday. On a day where Tennessee baseball has gotten their top target, this pitcher, the Mac, out of Rutgers. And Bino, I read to you the following from our chat over at YouTube, which I will refer to from time to time during subsequent programs and maybe even today, but there are some rather comical people that reside there over on our YouTube live chat as the show goes along, and I would encourage you to subscribe because we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff around our YouTube channel. I know I keep saying that, but we actually will, and you'll see some things coming. But in the meantime, Rodney Kraft today, as our show airs live there, you can see me in all my sartorial splendor today. But Rodney Kraft says the following. He's breaking news on Tony Valls' health, and he says the following. Tony Vitello just had a colonoscopy, and they found 2 polyps and Tony Basilio. I don't get it.
You still sleep with the jersey on, Tone?
Well, Bino, would you describe me as up Tony Valls' rectum?
That's rather harsh, Tony, but that's well done.
Back to the phones we go at 865-200-5402. GBMFO says Satterwhite's a stud and Lewis will be your go-to back. He said Bino's wrong on that. Nicholas Wilson says, I believe we beat Georgia when I see it. So there you go. 865-200-5402. That Mr. Kraft person also says, Basilio TB can't stop bringing up LSU. It's cool. I'll shut up when LSU is the topic again, okay? I don't even know what that means. What do you mean I bring up LSU? That's Sean Adams' bag around here, brah. That ain't my bag. Let's go to the phones. 865-200. I might bring up LSU when I talk about teams in the SEC I'm betting against in the fall. because they're going to start out with a loss of Clemson again. They're going to lose that opening game, be behind the 8 ball, and those Cajuns down there, I told you people several years ago when they hired this Kelly guy that he's a bad fit for that place, and it is going to come to that because he is not going to like, Bino, when they lose that first game to Clemson, and those people down there are going to jump all over him, yes or no? And then we go to the phones.
Yes, they most certainly are. And as right as you were about that, it appears that I was wrong about Dabo and his approach. He seems to be right there.
Well, you know what, though? Dabo's in a league where he can afford to take the foot off the pedal when it comes to the portal because, again, the margin for error in the ACC, I mean, comparing that league and this league are two different animals. Now, I will say tomorrow on the blog over at tclub.team, we were blessed enough. Robert Kowalski, who is the odds maker over at VIP Play, better, VIP Play today, bum. I sent him our matchups pitting the SEC against the Big Ten in football. And he ran him through his process, and I'm going to publish tomorrow what his lines are for each game for those of you that are interested. Needless to say, the middle of this league, it's not superior to the Big Ten. It's far, far superior. It's not going to surprise me if the Southeastern Conference stays at 8 games. But let's get back on task here. And we're going to go to the phones. But before we do, Brian Hartman. Throat says that his tumbler is half full. Let me know how you agree or disagree. Are you ready? Joey Aguilar leads the Vols to a victory over Georgia this year, Brian. Buying, selling, or trading? It's in Neyland Stadium. It's early in the year. Both teams are going to be working in new quarterbacks. Their guy had a chance last year, though he couldn't ride half the rides at Dollyweird. And by the way, this guy does his best work, Kirby Dunn does, when he has a quarterback like that can't ride half the rides at Dollyweird. But go ahead, Brian.
I definitely have to sell because I got to see first.
I mean, he's Jack Bicknell with Doug Flutie. Isn't that weird, Bino, how this guy does better when he's got one of those little quarterbacks, little pocket Rockies, as they call them in Philly?
Yeah, it is, Tony. I also think it speaks to the volatile nature of the top of the ratings of the quarterback and how that coming out of high school and how that plays out in college.
None of those guys from Nico's class, if you go back and look at it, which would be another fun little blog to do this summer, none of those guys can play. That top 10, the one kid that's at Oregon, the Moore kid, he's already transferred from UCLA to Oregon. He's probably going to be the pick of the litter before it's over. The kid that's at Pittsburgh's pretty good. And the guy at South Carolina is a hell of a runaround player. I like him. The kid with used to wear the rec specs. Brian Hartman, bullet point 2. Glenn Ellerby, going to have a better offensive line this year, Brian. Buying, selling, or trading that?
Players can get better. Coaches can get better, we hope.
Consistent buzz at wide receiver about Braylon Staley in the slot. And also, Throat mentions Rodarius Jackson. He thinks wide receiver is much better this year, Bri. Buying, selling, or trading?
I'll buy because I think that there's been playmakers hiding in plain sight that haven't had the opportunity. And I'm going to be optimistic and say I'll buy.
Deshaun Bishop, Brian, is the breakout pick at running back. Hey, look, we got nothing against Peyton Lewis here, but Throaty says Deshaun Bishop has got the ticket to ride. Buying, selling, or trading, Bri?
I will hold that. Is that an option?
Sure.
Is that a trade option?
Sure.
I'm going to hold on that one.
Seth Luttrell's going to have an influence that Comrade Golish had before Comrade Golish left for South Florida. Seth Luttrell is going to be the heavy that they've needed in the room for a couple of years. And, you know, Bino, I made a point earlier in the blog, well, down below that in the blog, just thinking about how sometimes when a guy walks out who's kind of the heavy, things can go all to hell on these staffs. Fulmer without Cutcliffe's a pretty good example of that, Bino. Yes or no?
Yes, he certainly was, Tony. It was. I read that. I thought it was a really, really good point.
Because Fulmer, when he had Cutcliffe, was Fulmer, and then a buddy of mine, the great Keith Garrison, says without Cutcliffe, he became Halfmer. I had to go back. I had to go back and look at it, Bino. So Fulmer had that losing season, and Dandy Randy got gone there in 2005, right? Season ended with a loss to Vanderbilt, and then they bring Cutcliffe in, and they're better right away. I think they win 10 games, and then the next year they go to the SEC championship game, and we're really in a game with LSU. I mean, it was a great game in the fourth quarter. Played them off their feet. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the last time we've been in an SEC championship game. Is that right?
Yes.
That is correct.
And it took a pick six for them to win it from a senior quarterback.
And then that offseason, he got the Duke job, and that was it for Fulmer. It was sayonara, sukiyaki, see you wouldn't want to be you. Finally, Bryce, Seth Luttrell, what do you got on him? You believe?
I'll buy that one.
Let's go to the phones. Brian asked me, he said, is it okay if I say on the air that I think the Vols have a better chance of going 10-2 than 7-5 this year? I said, sure, Brian, you can say anything you want to say. Would you like to say that, Brian, into your microphone right now?
Yeah, I think with the schedule being what it is, I probably won't predict 10-2. I would think I'm going to say 9-3, but 10-2 to me seems more possible than 7-5 because they're playing the four worst teams in the conference projected. So anything less than 9-3, or especially an 8-4, might seem a little bit underwhelming.
I say we fire that thing up. I say we focus that thing and we prepare it. Let's go. And to our TLD Logistics phone lines we go now. It's utterly outstanding. Andy Mack. As we go to our phones against the backdrop that we're talking ball today. And I will ask you all day long, all day strong. Hello and welcome into our first call. You're on the air. Hi, welcome in. Hola, hola, hola. Hola, amigo. Hola, welcome in. You're on the air. Well, that's not good. Let me hear something here. Hang on one sec. Hello, welcome in. You're on the air. Oh, you know what? I did something here. My bad. Hello, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Tony. How you doing today? It's Nick in Memphis calling you.
Hey, Nick in Memphis. Great to hear your voice.
Hey. Good to hear yours, too. Well, you read my comment about Georgia, so I'm going to tell you that's the one, to me, the least likely to happen. We've lost to them, 8 years straight now?
8 years straight, yep.
Yep, and if Jawan Jennings doesn't catch that Hail Mary, 9 years. And like you said, I will say, I'm glad we're getting Georgia early. I'd rather have them early than late. I mean, usually it takes them a minute to find their footing. I'm not saying we'll beat them. I do think catching them early means it'll be a better game than it's been. But yeah, I got to see us beat them to believe it.
Hey Nick, that is Bino. That is really a really, 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 really great point Nick brings up. I think when you're playing an opponent that more years than not is going to have better football players than you, I always want to play you early instead of late, Bino. What do you think? Bino, are you there? What happened to Bino?
I'm here, Tony. Sorry, I had myself muted.
Go ahead.
Yes, I think it's always better to play them early, especially when they've got a new quarterback coming in, and a deep team like Georgia. They're probably going to be in better shape than you are in November, whereas you can maybe match up a little bit better early in the season. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, the one exception would be catastrophic injury, that sort of thing, Nick. But more times than not, though, both teams are going to be beat up late in the year, and they're going to have better players, and they're going to have better depth, and they're going to be more adept at handling their injuries. So I think it's a great point. Plus, this year, they're breaking in a kid at quarterback, and we have a real opportunity maybe to jump on them in our building. Who knows if this kid's maybe he's having an uneven year coming into that game.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. If we jump, because I remember, I think it was 2021 Hooker's first year. We played them late. We jumped on them 7-0. Like, first drive of the game. Building was rocking. Of course, they had, I forget the kid's name, the Bennett kid. He was experienced, all that. They eventually, did what they did. But if we get up 7-10 early on this Gunnar Stockton kid, Nealon might start doing its thing, and he might get rattled. Like it's easy to be like, oh yeah. I mean, and I saw, I think it was Josh Pate said it's easy to go into Tennessee and think, oh, we're not going to let them, play Rocky Top and let people start losing their minds until it happens. I mean, we've got a psychological thing at home, and if we can get up on Georgia, like I said, I'll believe we beat them when I see it, but we could still make it a very good game, especially if we jump on them early.
Protecting your home field, to me, is a sign that you have a healthy Southeastern Conference program. If you're going to endeavor to play at the top of the league, one of the first things you have to do is what Heupel did here, which is when they defeated Alabama several years back, you begin to restore a little bit of order. You should split with those opponents. Florida and Tennessee should be winning at Florida more than they do, but it is what it is. But the one thing they have been able to do is kind of get a split going there, get a split going in the Alabama series. I mean, you restore some order there. Plus, you do that more times than not in this league, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to make the playoffs if you're able to do that.
Giving yourself a fighting chance.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So on the other four, I mean, I'll be honest with you. So the one I think is most likely to happen is the Deshaun Bishop. That kid looks like a baller. But with the 2 through 4, I'm having a hard time ranking those for me personally, just because. I mean,
does Ellerby have a better Do you think we have a better offensive line? Because here's the other thing about the Georgia game. The other thing about that is with all those newcomers, are you cohesive? Is there a way to get cohesive enough to hold up against that fierce Georgia? And it doesn't matter who Georgia has out there at defensive line. I'm going to tell you this right now. They have guys that are going to play in the NFL on their defensive line because as long as Kirby Smart's there, that's who's going to be on that defensive line. NFL football players.
They got some future Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So it's all fun and games till you line up against a future NFL All-Pro. I'm kind of in the middle. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've never been sold on Ellerby, but I'm sold less on Pope, and I don't know anything about Littrell. So I guess the offensive line would have to. It's between 2 and 3 for me because I kind of want to put the toughness thing you talked about at 2. But like I said, we don't know the guy. Like, all we know about him is what we know from Oklahoma. So, I mean, he's an unknown quantity, the Littrell guy. Maybe he's maybe he's a heavy, like you said. Maybe he's not. It's hard to say until we see it. So, I mean, just for the fact that, honestly, the offensive line can't get much worse for me. Now, I've lived through the Derek Dooley and Jeremy Pruitt years, so I would still take Ellerby's offensive line over those guys. But, yeah, I would put them at second. I would probably put the toughness third. And, honestly, I'm putting the wide receivers fourth because I got no faith in Kelsey Pope. No offense to the man. I've got to see with him in his room, I got to see it to believe it.
Bino, what about that? What about Kelsey Pope and the fact that at this point, in terms of growing his guys, he's got a black thumb? Your thought, Bino?
Yeah, at this point, I don't know how you defend him to this point.
Nick, you've got an excellent phone call. Anything else you'd care to add on the way out on our Football Monday program?
All hail Tony Vitello.
There you go. Even on Football Monday, the man's getting love. And I've been accused. See that? You and I are both going to – you're going to be in his next colon scan.
Yeah,
well, hey, there's worse places to be than that, brother.
Yeah, right. The man's the best coach and recruiter for a reason. So.
Yep. Thank you, my brother. Great talking to you. I bet nobody's ever told Nick that in Memphis, Bino. What do you think?
I wouldn't think that they've said that to Nick.
Because to be honest with you, that's a term that never even – that's a word picture, a thought, a term. I've never even considered that, but I will use it on some of my friends going forward in different forms and fashions. So let's go back to our phones. 865-200-5402. You can catch a show over on our YouTube channel, which I've been told is kind of comical. We got about 400 or 500 or so folks on our video. We've got a few hundred other folks on our Twitter Spaces. You can watch the show on Twitch as well. You can catch it over on our app or on our live stream. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people do each and every day. Continue to tell your friends and help us continue to grow. And remember, we're right around the corner from all that extra programming like our Garza Law fifth quarter fan reactions. We'll be back this year with another season of winners and losers. It's going to be unbelievable, Andy, and some other special stuff coming your way in the fall as we continue to grow here today. In honor of our Football Monday, X has a full recruiting report up for you. X says if Tennessee can hold on to Bay and they can add, he's got 4 names. If they can add 2 of them, he will call this an excellent coaching job and an excellent close by this staff. It's amazing what adding a playmaker will do for the perception of your class. But that's where we are right now. To the phones we go at 865-200-5402. Hello and welcome into the next call. Let's see who Nick in Memphis hands the baton to as we run this relay today together. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, y'all. This is William in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia.
Hey, William, welcome in. Hope of Lake Winnipesaukee. I know it well. It's beautiful. Lake Winnie, my friend, Lake Winnie. I bet the folks are having fun out there at Lake Winnie. Fun in the blazing sun. Hey, William, how hot is it at Fort Oglethorpe? That sounds brutally hot right now.
It's pretty hot, although I haven't been outside at all today right now.
You're a smart man, William.
Thank you very much, Tony.
By the way, I've got to get your gift cards in the mail to me. That reminds me. Let me talk to Laura here. Hey, Laura, we got to get William's gift cards to him. That's kind of your response. Well, never mind. Bino, I shouldn't say that, should I, Bino? Should I
wouldn't, Tony.
So, William, talk to me here. I'm going to go through these bullet points with you one by one. Joey Aguilar defeats Georgia right in your home state. What do you got to say to that, William?
I will hold on to that.
Hold. Glenn Ellerby's offensive line is better this fall, William. What do you say to that?
I agree with that, Tony. They're going to be way better than they were last year.
I like the nugget, and what we're hearing about Hurd is that he's losing some weight, and he's actually going to play a competitive SEC brand of ball. Because last year, look, he got here, he was a little out of shape, and it sort of was what it was, and he's playing catch-up. Bino, Wendell Moe, I love guys like him. I love Wendell Moe, Bino. For it, not again it. Satterwhite at center. Give me a kid there. Plug him in. Let's go, man. Let's go. A homegrown guy. Let's go. Couple of them, Bino, on the offensive line. Couple homegrown guys.
Yeah, as far as Ellerby goes, I think he's a little bit too much of a whipping boy with the fan base. I think he's produced more enough to where maybe he takes too much criticism. Pope, on the other hand, I understand the angst there.
As the kids like to say, Pope isn't dope. William, wide receiver. They're going to be better this fall, Throaty says. What do you think? You buying, selling, or trading that?
I'm buying that. I believe in receivers.
Deshaun Bishop is going to be the one that totes the mail over Lewis this fall and some other stablemates. Deshaun Bishop is going to let it shine, as the old song goes. You believe, yes or no?
No, I do not believe in that.
Heupel's roommate, former Oklahoma fullback, he gave him a lifeline. But the guy he gave a lifeline to, Seth Littrell, who was absolutely unceremoniously dismissed last season as Oklahoma's offense imploded. And it really came to the fore in that Tennessee game. Will he lend a lifeline to Tennessee's offense? What does Williams say in Fort Oglethorpe?
I say yes.
Anything else you'd care to add, my friend, on this glory day?
All hail Josh Heupel.
William, as we get ready to flip that calendar to July, and I say to you, a 12-game season, Tennessee's final record will be. What is William thinking right now?
I will say, at the least, probably 10-2. My only loss is coming to Bama and possibly Florida.
William, you're my man. Thank you, brother. Great talking to you. And he held on the Georgia game too, Bino. So William's got, as they say in politics, he got some fuzzy math up in there, Bino.
It's okay. I hope William nails it.
On your TLD Logistics phone lines, let's go back. We're doing some week with you on a Monday. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, Tony? It's Orange Blood. How's it going?
Yo, what's up, my man?
Hey, man, before I talk about that legend recruit, I'm going to let you know about over the weekend. I went and saw some real legends at the Magic of Motown show at TPAC in Nashville. I think you and Bino and even old Titans Bill could have been my wingman that night.
Let's go. Where was this held?
This is at TPAC, the Tennessee Performing Arts Center downtown.
Oh, wow.
Nashville.
Nice.
So there was some real life, like one of the longest standing Balladeer members, Stuart Avig, one of the old backup singers from Motown days. He's still there kicking it, 82 years old, out there on stage, singing some of the great, the R&B stuff. I just wish Titans Bill was with me, man. I think his target demographic was there. He could have been in heaven right there.
Well, I'll tell you this about Motown and that music presented live. In '86, I was blessed enough to see the Four Tops and the Temptations. And back in '86, there were still 3 original Temptations with them. Of course, the 2 lead singers weren't, but there were still 3 guys that were with them from the early 70s. One passed away, Bino, way, way, way early, right? One of the guys. And then Kendrick and Ruffin were out doing their own thing, so they had a couple different singers at that point. But the ones that really floored me were the Four Tops, because the originals were all there. And Levi Stubbs live with that orchestra, that band that Motown had at the time that they had traveling with those guys, that was some phenomenal live music. I mean, phenomenal. Levi Stubbs was unbelievable live, like unbelievable. I mean, the guy was crying when he sung. It was unbelievable how good and how great those songs are and how they hold up live. I mean, just great stuff.
Yeah, they had this song like that night too, when they came out and sang the "Wish It Would Rain," by the Temptations. Oh man, he brought the house down with that song. He put a lot of emotion into it, and it brought me back to my old Memphis days, living in Memphis, listening to the Rain Man, Bill or John Rainey there in Sports 56. Great handicapper he was back then. He used to play those tunes, and man, I love it. That's the kind of music I love. You play those beats, in and out of in and out of your sex. So
yeah, there's something about
pretty
that
cool
stuff. Yeah, there's something about that stuff. Yeah,
they sing "Don't Mess with Bill." Thought about Titans Bill a little bit again there. Maybe that's who the song was about. Who knows?
Never know. I mean, where's Bill from? I mean, let's connect the dots here. Bill's from Detroit, Michigan.
Wow. Yes.
Bill was there.
1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah, Bill was there as a kid when Hitsville, USA was producing. I mean, he might have been there the night that they grabbed the Temptations and brought them into the basement, and they met the Funk Brothers for the first time.
Exactly. One of the last few remaining touring groups out there, right? Now, the Funk Brothers were all the backup. They
Correct.
were all the backup musicians, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. The Funk Brothers were. And what's interesting is that guys like Marvin Gaye were studio musicians before they brought him out front. Diane Ross, who changed her name to Diana, but her name was Diane, was actually a receptionist there who... Was the story, Bino, that Berry Gordy took a fancy to her? Is that kind of how that happened?
Yeah. Now, I didn't realize that she was I knew that Martha Reeves was, but yes, Berry took a fancy to Diana Ross.
Because some would say that she has, doesn't have the greatest singing voice in the world. I mean, I like her. But some would say that, she doesn't exactly have a powerful, blow-you-away voice. And she's still out there doing it, I believe. I believe Diana Ross is still out there doing it.
She's one of the last few. I think there's only like 5 or 6 from the original Motown era. Still out there touring. She's one of them.
A buddy of mine, the great Chris Campbell, who's in the concert business, had a chance to travel all over the world with Stevie Wonder, working as part of his concert crew. And he said, man, you want to talk about a talented freaking guy? Night after night, it would kind of switch up his set list, and you just, you had to kind of follow along when Stevie was doing his thing. It's unbelievable. I can't imagine that. Imagine that, Bino, going all over the world with a guy like Stevie Wonder.
No.
Goodness gracious.
That would be some kind of thrill.
Woo!
It'd be awesome. Well, let me ask you real quick. I know you're up against the hour here, but just this legend kid, it depends on what recruiting site you're looking at. It depends on what they think, what position he's in, but he'll be. But he's an athlete, and you know how we get a lot of these athletes in, and then tell them, yeah, we're gonna make you wide receiver, we're gonna make you quarterback, we're gonna make you this or that. Where do you think he's going to fit in? What are we telling them? And this is what worries me these days. They come in committed, and then we say, well, we think you're going to be better, on defense as a corner or safety, or we think you ought to be a receiver, not a quarterback. He sounds like he can do a little bit of everything. So I'm wondering what you're hearing on that.
My belief, he's an offensive gadget, satellite type player. You can play him in a multitude of positions. Let him return kicks for you. And I believe ultimately if he ends up here, that's what he'll be. Now, look, he's a quarterback in high school, but at this level, I believe he will project to be an offensive type, gadget type player who, in this type of offense, could be a take the top off your defense guy, a very explosive player. That's the type of player that when they start to show up, I start to really believe. And when you don't have those guys, I'm worried. And that's why I'm worried about the upcoming season, because I don't see a lot of those guys in Tennessee's mixing in their hunt right now.
Yeah, you know how everybody, defense has adapted to us the last couple of years. And
yes.
We've seen Heupel change a little bit with that two tight end set. So he's being a little flexible with, everybody reacts to what you're doing. So I think having somebody like that, a little Swiss Army knife type, player that can be moved around, what they call movable chess pieces, that keeps the defense honest. And I think that shows a sign, the type of people Heupel is recruiting.
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate the call, but if you think about the guys that have been successful against Tennessee, and especially in this league, you're either going to be one of these high-end NFL-type wide receivers, or you're going to be one of these really slick, athletic, gadget-type players who, by the way, also have a spot in professional football. But, they come in all shapes and sizes these days. You can never have too many of those guys on your roster, though. Never. And sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. I don't know how it's going to work out for that kid if he gets here. Nobody does, but when I start seeing you linked with five-star guys and I see that kid's offer list, that's good news to me. And it's credibility. As X was saying earlier, that's also credibility. We'll come back on the other side. It's a football Monday, coast to coast, straight up, pillar to post. We'll come back with more. Hour 2 after this.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Summer officially starts this month, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 $1 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Piperidge at 865-264-8090 or book online at piperidge.com to schedule your appointment today.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need, so give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. I will say we have some real legends in their own minds over on the YouTube channel, Tony Basilio Show. It is a quite comical way to consume the program. The comments are LOL funny. Ben Hall asked, did Heupel insult Tony's mom? Which I don't know where that comes from. I'm not allowed to say that I'm concerned we don't have playmakers commensurate to SEC teams. Ben, I'm not commensurate to that. And then he says, well, Tony's having a real problem. We had a great recruiting weekend. We only wrote 4,000 words about it today at tclub.team there, Ben. People think, you think I'm going to root against my football program here? When it's responsible for like 70% of my income, 75% of my income? Hey, Ben, it's fun. It is fun living rent-free in your head and other people's heads. But y'all need to, like, get your head checked. Because I'm always going to voice my opinion, Chief. Always. And people like you are not going to stop me. You're not. Because when you turn this show on, you're going to get what we feel like is going on. Whether you agree with it or you don't. Also, James says, William will be through with his postgraduate degree before Tony gets him a copper card. He actually won 2 Alumni Hall gift cards, James, and he's going to get them. Because I actually pay up. I pay up. Let's go back to our phones.
Thank you for the gift cards, Tony, by the way, from Friday. I'm getting ready to restock my orange apparel after July the 4th, and those will really help. Thank you.
Ben Hall goes on to say, Tony out here actually having to struggle through Heupel's recruiting success. Yeah, Ben, it's really a struggle. Man, I don't, boy, it was a tough weekend for me, Ben. Z says, hey, Ben, I love Heupel, but let's not pretend like you just committed a bunch of top 50 players. Orange Blood says he's hearing that Andy's now not going to the Redneck Brawl. Apparently, rapper Andy Bino is not in the Redneck Brawl. Apparently, they're not letting him in. I don't know.
Man, I don't know, but at that event, I wouldn't think you could be real selective about who you let in, who you don't. I can't imagine there's a tremendous amount of people wanting to be in that.
Back to the phones. 865-200-5402. Maybe what we can do, Bino, if he gets locked out of that, is maybe we can set up, and this isn't a bad idea if you stop and think about it. Maybe we can set up a ring at Calhoun's on the River and have our own event out there. Or,
Tony, I was a little bit concerned about a wrap-off. I'm really concerned about this one.
How about a live wrap-off between Andy and Florida down there?
Yeah, now there you go. There you go.
What do you think? Because the patrons last year, Bino was here for this. What do you think, Bino, the patrons of Calhoun's who have no idea who we are and what we're doing, and there's a few on Fridays, those people were doing when rapper Andy grabbed that mic last year before that Oklahoma game and did the Tennessee Tornado? What do you think they were thinking, Beanstar?
Probably not about their next visit there to Calhoun's when we're there.
At one point, I looked over at Bino, and he like had his head down. And I was over there going stuff like, I was doing the beats, and I was going, dig it, and urging him on. And I mean, Andy owned the moment, Bino, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we talked.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm not afraid to perform. Not afraid. That kid in the moment last year, when he grabbed that stick and he rocked that mic like Raheem once said, like he was on Soul Train back in the day. I mean, I was looking for Don Cornelius over there in the corner. Let's go back to the phones. 865-200-5402 if you want to get in the hunting in the mix with us. By the way, my friends over at YouTube, smash that like button for us. That helps people find the show. Smash that like button. Even you, Ben, you clown. Smash that like button. Let's go to the phones. TLD Logistics phone lines. We go back to our busy phones. All lines are jammed because we're celebrating Tennessee football, which, by the way, the calendar's getting ready to turn to July. Once July happens, you got the month of Augie. And right there at the end of Augie, what happens? You got it. Let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. Hi. Welcome in.
Yeah, let the countdown continue. It's really not that far away, Tony.
My boy.
And, you know what? I was listening to William. I just got done I'm watching this movie station called Screen Picks of Voices. And I just got done watching a pretty good movie called Cotton Comes to Harlem. And I mean, it had an all-star cast. Red Fox, Godfrey Cambridge, Raymond St. James, Judy Pace. I mean, it was all men and women of color, and it was good. It's on Screen Picks Voices. I don't know if you can pick it up.
Bino, have you ever heard of Screen Picks Voices?
I have not.
Is that an app?
But if I could find it, I would certainly take a recommendation from Titansville.
Bill, what is that? Is that an app? Is that a web channel?
No, it's not an app. It's cable. It's strictly cable.
Screen Picks
Voices. And you also could pick up Screen Picks Westerns, Screen Picks Action, and Screen Picks.
Huh.
And right now I'm watching a pretty good movie with, I think Screen Picks Voices is mostly, all black.
So, Bill, you referred to William's call, which means you were listening.
Yeah.
How do you watch a movie and listen to the show at the same time? Or are you one of those people that can multitask?
I can multitask. I have the TV on and listen to you also.
Bino, you have a thought on that?
And that's beyond my realm. I cannot do that, Tony. I have to concentrate on one thing at a time. I'm the worst multitasker in America.
I can barely do this show.
Well, I normally concentrate on both.
Well, you could be the man, Bill.
On another note, Tony, it seems like I've been reading where looks like the Browns is going to get their new stadium. It's going to be in Brook Park. The Bengals is going to be staying in Cincinnati. They're going to be doing a little facelifting thing on Paycor Stadium. And let's see, getting back to the Titans. When they had the draft, it seems like Borgonzi and Brinker and Adam Strunk was sort of spinning that roulette wheel and putting all their chips on, let's see, 24 red. And they better hope that Cam Ward has a good season. If they have a good season.
You know what's crazy to me, guys? It was not that long ago where you would draft a guy and he would sit a season and a half before he even saw the field.
Yeah.
The pressure on these rookie quarterbacks now to come in and play right away. I wonder why they do that now, Beanstar. I wonder why that's a thing. Is there just that much of a dearth of quarterbacks for the teams that kind of fall in the cracks in the NFL? Is that what we're seeing? Why wouldn't you let a guy like that learn for a year before you throw him on a football field?
Yeah, I think it's a lot what you're saying, the dearth of NFL caliber quarterbacks today. Also, the lack of patience within a fan base and an organization. And also, they know that they throw that rookie quarterback out there, they're going to fill those seats until he proves he can't play.
That's weird. But most of those guys can't play, though. Very seldom do you have a kid like the kid in – well, last year you had a couple of them. You had the kid in Washington who was very good right away, and the kid in Chicago. Most of the guys, though, are not going to be able to do that. Most of them.
Yeah, but I agree. But when you've had a hack out there, every fan base wants to believe that it will. And they'll be there watching until he proves he can't.
But in our day, like John Elway was 40 years ago. He was the cat's meow. It took them till midseason. They were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they throw him out there. It's like late in October, early November. I remember my Eagles, when they had Randall Cunningham, they introduced him as a third down quarterback only for a while and would let him they'd snap the ball to him and let him run around. Now they just give you the keys right out of camp. And many times these guys are going to substandard teams. I mean, no offense to the Titans if you're a Titan fan, but you have a lot more need areas in Cam Ward. Brian and I last week, Bino, day you weren't on, subject to these NFL quarterbacks came up. It's hard for me to believe that a guy like Joe Flacco is still out there, Beanstar, still golfing his ball.
Yeah, it is.
And so many of these guys. He mentioned Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's got some kids and some old men. NFL's a weird deal with that quarterback situation. And the way, for whatever reason, college football is just not producing frontline quarterbacks. It's very strange. Very hard to find one of those guys. Let's go back to the phones. And the guys that can do it, that's why they become so wealthy. The guys at the top of the deal. But we'll get our next. How about Russell Wilson, Beanstar? He's still out there. I saw where he's with the Giants now. He was roached 5 years ago, Bino.
Yeah, I mean, but even guys who've never proven they could play. Heck, Daniel Jones is probably going to start for the Colts. I mean, guys that can't play hang around. Guys that never could play.
Crazy.
Blaine Gabbert.
At least Flacco and, Flacco and Russell Wilson, some of those guys have proven before they can play.
That's a really good point. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, they're going to carbon date him at some point. He's still out there. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on our Monday edition. As we're breaking it down, it's a football Monday, wall-to-wall football. And Titans Bill actually stayed in the theme. Hello and welcome in.
How my French compatriots doing today?
Hey, W. Lynn.
First thing I want to say is Tony does send you his alumni hall cards. I've got 2 of them myself, and I'm doing like Bino. I'm going to use them. So, yes, he does send his gift cards out.
Thank you, my brother.
The second thing is, Tony, down at Calhoun's, you could have a brawl for it all. The first man that gets thrown into the Tennessee River loses. And we could get our man Jinxie to set this up. I want to see Polly Joe go against ESPN's Pat McAfee. First man in the water loses.
Who would you bet on, Bino? Polly Joe or McAfee? Who you got?
I don't care who has to fight Polly Joe as long as it's not me.
Paulie Joe, literally, for those of you that don't understand this, the guy looks like Dick the Bruiser from professional wrestling, and I am not kidding. If you look Dick the Bruiser up, that's who this guy is. I've had a lot of people with keyboard muscles down through the years, like email me, I'm going to go down there, I want to see this guy pisses me off, I want to meet him, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to pick a fight with him, blah, blah, and guess what everybody does when they see him? They come to their senses, because that guy is a huge human being. Like,
he picked me up once like I was just a piece of paper.
Exactly. Like NFL football players would look at him and go, that's a big guy standing over there. That guy could have gone in the wrestling. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's got that type of size.
He could maybe throw McAfee where he does his backflip into the Tennessee River.
There you go. Maybe we can get him involved in that next year.
Game day.
Hey, Davey Lynn, just to show you how crazy I get watching some ball games. First time I ever saw Paulie Joe was at the original corner 16. It was I believe Tennessee was playing Gonzaga, a regular season game. And he was sitting at the bar, and Tony and I were at a table back behind him, and he kept standing up, and he's huge, kept standing up blocking the television. Finally, I said, hey, big boy, how about you sit your big ass down where I can see that television? He just looked at me and laughed like, you little gnat, what are you talking about?
And then literally 45 minutes later, that was my introduction to him. He picked me up and threw me way up in the air, and I banged my head on the pipe up there, on the heating duct that was up above. Threw me like 15 feet in the air.
He's unbelievable. But,
he's huge.
Why did rapper Andy get disqualified?
No, I don't think he got disqualified. I think the word is online now, and I'm just kind of following this by proxy. But I think the word is online that he either didn't get his submission in, or maybe they looked at the video that he submitted and determined that he was too good for that event, maybe too advanced for that event.
Maybe so. The Calhoun's thing would be great. Throw them right in the catfish, whoever loses.
Yep, right in the catfish.
Guys, I'm looking at this season very half full in memory of Roger. I mean, what else we going to do? I'm not going to sit around miserable worrying about things that I can't control. And my first goal is, by the first open date, which our open dates are pretty strategically located. First open date, I want to be 4-1. That's October 4th. By the second open date, which is November 8th, I want to be 7-2. Then we control our own destiny the last 3 games.
First open date. Let me write this down for the blog tomorrow. First open date, 4-1.
Minimum.
Second open date. I think that's fair, by the way. Second open date. What'd you say?
7-2. 7-2.
All right, we'll have to look at that. We'll have to dive further into this and see if we can get there, W. or Lynn. But you are right. This is the time of the year to practice party discipline. Now, some would say, Tony, you don't do that when you voice your concern about lack of playmakers. I mean, I think I thread that needle just well. Thank you very little. But look, I think this Joey football guy, I mean, lightning could strike twice here. Who knows? Be hilarious if it happened. Be utterly And then if Nico went out there on the left coast and kind of scuffled around, that would be poetic justice, W. Lynn, if that happened. You know it, poetic justice.
It would be, and we don't know. We've got 2 or 3 quarterbacks. I don't know who's going to be ready, but and as far as playmakers go, we have got to have diamonds in the rough. That's just the way I'm looking at it.
Yep.
And some people are going to step up and surprise us. I mean, 85 Sugar Bowl team surprised us after 84, and the 98 national title team surprised us after Peyton left in 97. So, let's go into this thing positive. And the Georgia game, that is some kind of checker Neyland or something, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't follow that stuff. Bri, do you know the Georgia game? Are we doing a gimmick on that game? We need gimmicks for Georgia game. Biggest game on the schedule.
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Everything's a gimmick.
Why don't we just do the orange out?
They're doing at least one game after that. They always do every year.
Do the orange out.
I vote do orange out. Forget all that checkerboard and all that stuff. Just do an orange out. That's what we've done the last 2 times we beat Alabama. Good grief.
Orange out and bring those all orange uniforms back that Tennessee wore that one time, right? From head to toe.
No, I don't want to do that.
In the Majors days.
I don't ever want to do that again.
In the Majors days, all orange uniforms with the orange shoes, the whole thing.
I didn't like them then. I didn't like all orange ever.
Thank you,
but I do want to have our white uniform be white with orange pants and just leave it at that and quit changing everything.
You're the man, W. Lynn. We live in an era where every Major League Baseball team except Bino's Yankees on Friday night wear softball uniforms.
God bless the Yankees.
You damn straight. They have some integrity. We're not doing that. We've worn the same uniform since we were the Highlanders. And we became the Yankees 100 or so years ago, and we're not participating in that. God bless the
Some
Yankees.
of those, whatever they call those things, whatever they call those things, some of those are absolute hideous.
Why, the Phillies? I mean, here and you talk about a sheep being born every day. I'm down there. I'm down there at Clearwater this year, that they call Clearwater, when those Philly fans are there. And I'm down there at Clearwater, guys, and people are walking around in those City Connect jerseys, Beanstar.
They make me want a City disconnect.
They're like ice blue, and they're horrendous looking. I mean, if you saw a softball team in them, you'd go, look at that gaudy uniform. Back to our busy phones we go. Good for Bino's Yankees. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. Hey, Bino. This is William from Iowa.
Hey, William in Iowa. Where in Iowa are you listening to us?
Cedar Rapids.
Nice. That's beautiful there.
Yeah, it's great. Big blue skies. A lot of farms.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question. I was born in 1993, so I don't really remember these times. But when Phil Fulmer took over as the coach for the Tennessee Vols, did he take over like a program that was in shambles? Were they kind of steady? Were they thriving?
They were very good. Now he took a very good program and made it better, which is saying something.
Yeah.
Johnny Major's last three seasons from 1989, 90, 91, and then into that 92 season, which got him. But the 3 seasons preceding that were all very, very, very good. And they were, like a play away, a win away from being in the national championship picture in all those seasons. The 89 team went 11-1. Lone blemish was with Alabama, lost in the Cotton Bowl. The 90 team, John Adams was talking about the other day, one of the most talented football teams I've ever seen. They took a little bit of a step back in 91, but that was still an excellent team. And then in 92, they had tremendous expectations when he had the heart issues which fell him early in the year. But that was going to be a great team as well.
Yeah, I asked. I saw something on CBS earlier, and it said that, Philip Fulmer's first 4 seasons, he had won 38 games. And then it had Josh Heupel's first 4 seasons, and he's won 37 games. And I just thought that was pretty impressive. And I was wondering, look around Josh Heupel and the unsteadiness of his program, or half full, half empty.
Yeah.
Is that just because the standard of excellence has grown since Bear Bryant and then Nick Saban, that unless you're Kirby Smart and you kind of take over a program and win 2 national titles, like, a fan base isn't going to be happy? Or was there a call for Philip Fulmer's head after 4 seasons?
Oh, God,
or
no.
Not a call for his head,
no, and here's why. Fulmer's recruiting, Major's recruiting was very good. Fulmer's was lights out. Most fan bases are always going to look at how are you recruiting against your peers. And quite frankly, Josh Heupel's been middle of the pack in the SEC. Now, he's been, people say, well, like last year, 11 or 12 in the country. And right now, with this latest guy and jumping into the top 10, you're still like 6 or 7 in the league. I mean, the league is so hard. Fulmer back then was recruiting like Ohio State recruits now, and recruiting like Alabama recruited under Saban. They were winning recruiting national championships back then, or contending for them. They were right at the top, and they had who's who classes. And here's what happens. Look, when you bring in a bunch of 5-star guys, some of those guys stick, some of them wash out. And then you have all those 4-star kids, some of them stick, some of them wash out. But the truth is that fans want to win in recruiting too. Every fan base wants to win big in recruiting. And Fulmer had a galaxy of stars. And it was playmakers all over the place until the turn of this century, when a lot of that started to go away. But it was a beanstar back in the 90s. And that's the reason that I think the Heupel thing from the Fulmer thing feels different in terms of the first 4 years. What do you think, Bino?
No, I think you explained that perfectly, Tony. I think that's there's no question. And he was one of ours and had been here as part of Major's rebuild. He was well liked right out of the chute. Obviously that type of recruiting paid off. The 90s are that's the greatest decade of Tennessee football in my fandom.
It was unreal. I mean, because I'm telling you, Johnny Majors had the thing really going. I mean, it was really rolling there. From the 0-6 start to 88, and then winning the rest of the games that year, into going 10-1 the following year, into the 90 season where, I mean, Tennessee tied a Colorado team that was the best team in college football at the end of that year. And Tennessee was absolutely, and Colorado back then, it's hard to appreciate this now, but they had an Alabama level football team. They had more freaking playmakers on the field and more professional football players, and they got all these kids out of Los Angeles. And if you go back and look at it, UCLA and USC, all their playmakers, it was outward migration to Bill McCartney's program there at Colorado. But Tennessee, for that decade, the only thing in their way was Steve Spurrier. If Steve Spurrier didn't come into this league, there's no telling how many trophies Tennessee would have stacked on the wall, because that was the only thing in their way. If somebody else would have hired, if like a Florida State or a Miami would have hired Steve Spurrier and kept him out of here, there's no telling, Bino, how many trophies the Vols would have stacked, those two coaches. There's just no telling.
Yeah, well, certainly from a winning the league standpoint,
yeah,
Tennessee would have dominated that.
I mean, that they probably would have won 8 SEC championships in the 90s. And I am not kidding, because those teams were loaded. But Spurrier just had it was a weird thing because Tennessee would out-recruit him, but yet he would find a way with his football teams. He wasn't the most hair-on-fire recruiter guy, but he figured out a way to win games. Anything else for us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I mean, that makes sense because usually, during the season, it's pretty good vibes.
Yep.
But then on the off season, some bad vibes creep in, and it makes sense that that's connected to recruiting. So
Sure it
appreciate
is.
you breaking that down for me.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, thanks, man. Good hearing from you. I'll tell you this, when we start looking at the whole recruiting thing, I think there's a subset of fans that would rather win in recruiting than win on the field. I've always kind of had that sense. There's a subset of fans that would rather win in recruiting than win on the field. My thing about recruiting is I think it's overrated from player to player, but I think it's underrated when you get right down to it. But the point Bino's made, and some people have made about Heupel, is that last year he went out and somehow won 10 games with that team when his quarterback was kind of lost. And you get a lot of credit for that. And I do realize, again, while we talk about that last year's schedule was pretty generous. I think we'll all agree. And they have a generous schedule this year. There's a generous schedule on the horizon this year. But we'll come back on the other side. All lines are jammed. It's a all football Monday. We've declared it. I know that's a really creative nickname or name for what we're doing, but we'll continue with more on the other side right after this.
Get Severe on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
It's a huge week of celebrations with your Knoxville Smokies. Looking for the best 4th of July fireworks in town? Well, look no more. Join your Smokies on Friday and Saturday for the best and brightest fireworks show in East Tennessee. Let's celebrate America's birthday with America's favorite pastime. But we aren't finished there. Sunday is our day game of the week, the perfect way to close out the holiday weekend. Let the celebrations begin. We'll see you this weekend.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Since 2001, Highbridge Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been the trusted and preferred name for over 70,000 Knoxville locals. Looking for expert plumbing services and HVAC services, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. Voted best plumber in Knoxville and one of Knoxville's best HVAC companies 7 years in a row. Highbridge is a fully licensed mechanical contractor and committed to excellence and craftsmanship, so you can trust our certified experts to go above and beyond to meet your plumbing and HVAC needs, no matter what problem arises. We also make it easy with transparent pricing, free on-site estimates for replacement, and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing when credit approved. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Highbridge at 865-264-8090 or book online at highbridge.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show. Presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to Boo. So, as we welcome you back on your Monday, I like beginning sentences with the term so, because that's how the smart set talks. They go, so... Bino Jeff Henderson's in the house. It's an all-football Monday, but let's break for 1 second from it. Scrap Iron Garner's on Major League Baseball TV, MLB TV. Bino, talk to me here about Scrap Iron Garner and his getup, and then one other Tennessee baseball item in the majors tonight. Go ahead, Beanstar.
Yeah, I had it muted, Tony. I don't know what he said about the Cobra, but I do know he was wearing a gray long sleeve shirt with a power T on it.
Wow.
Scrap iron.
R.I.P. the Cobra. One of my favorite players, seeing live back in the 70s, into the 80s, an absolute force of nature and a freak of nature. May the Cobra R.I.P. And Bino, the note of interest for this evening for the Living Vol fan?
Would be tonight in Boston, Cincinnati at Boston, Chase Burns versus Garrett Crochet.
God.
If that's not just a fantastic testimony to what we're doing here at Tennessee baseball, I don't know what is.
Burns versus Crochet. And again, I can celebrate this because I'm celebrating and re-co-opting Chase Burns because I want to celebrate his success. And Garrett Crochet was one of the absolute crown jewels that was available in the offseason. And Tony Vols considers both those guys two of the best he's had, if not the two best starters that he's had. The Crochet guy, when he was here, was just sort of unreal and has been a great Major League pitcher. Tennessee now has 4 starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, Bri, yes?
You have Tidwell sometimes and then Chase Dolander. So if those are the 4, 2 of them face each other, and I'm sure there'll be other moments where 2 of the 4 or maybe even more will face each other, and we'll have to mention it.
It's crazy,
which is
man.
cool.
I love it. Every night when you turn on the ESPN or whatever, or you're just scrolling through your phone, there are Vols making highlights every night in Major League Baseball. And that's what it is.
What about Burns? His first start was against the New York Yankees at home, and then his second start is at Fenway Park. You talk about royalty.
Bino, you saw him
What
live.
a dream.
Before we go back to the phones, Bino, what did you think of him live last week when you were up there in Cincinnati against the Yankees?
Well, I sat in left field, Tony, but so I wasn't around the plate, but I thought he was terrific. He didn't look out of place in the least. I think if he stays healthy, he's going to be a fine major league pitcher. And I'm like you, Tony. I have moved. I never held much against him, but I've moved on. Burns started here, finished at Wake Forest. Crochet started here, finished here. Crochet's now a Red Sox. Go Chase Burns.
865-200-5402. And if you want to get some action on tonight's game, get some action here. I'm talking about over at VIP Play. You'll get your welcome bonus. You can bet on that game tonight. You can have your little parlay. Each guy this inning, a home run by so-and-so, however you want to play it. But you can do that on a nightly basis. And any major league bet you will place daily profit boost to 25% on your Major League Baseball parlay profits. Brian and myself will have some action on some of the midweek CFL action, which is in play. Wimbledon's going on right now. There's a major right around the corner in golf. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. So always something to play with VIP Play. 200 leagues, numerous types of bets, props, and options. I have a friend that bet on some darts over the weekend. He was betting on a dart tournament, professional dart tournament. So if you have a bet in mind and you can't find it on your sports book, reach out to my man Robert Killer Kowalski and the VIP Play team. They create it for you. Why? Because everybody gets treated like a VIP Play. And for your welcome bonus, you put in the promo code TNTony, and $100 in free bets appears right in your account. $100 in free bets going to appear right in your account. If you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over, and located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. And we go back to our phones without further ado. And special shout out to VIP Play Will for coming in last week and helping me have a day of rest along with Bino and Brian. And you guys did an excellent job, Bino. VIP Play Will's good people.
VIP Play Will ran that board like a pro. I look at that thing when I'm in there with Brian, and I think that looks like flying an airplane to me. Let somebody else do that.
Back to the phones we go. We'll get our next call in at 865-200-5402 as we get our next call in, and we will welcome in. Hello, and you're on the TLD Logistics phone lines. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Tony, it's Sam. Good to talk to you today.
Hey, Sam, great to talk to you, my friend.
Yeah, so last Friday we were talking about, like, places going to watch sports or, like, cool sporting events. And I brought up going to a World Darts Championship because those fans go absolutely insane.
Yeah, my buddy was locked in. I don't know what the tournament was. My buddy was locked in over the weekend. Apparently that's big in certain places in the world as well. You'd know more about that than I would, but I could imagine watching that at that level, how much strategy is involved in that. I'd like to study that sport.
Yeah, their fans are just lunatics. I mean, it's just, I wouldn't know what was going on, but it'd just be fun to be around them.
Bino and I have often talked about that, how, like, if you were to transport us overseas, right, and Bino could care less about kickball, and like world level soccer, I'll moderately watch it. I'll more follow the MLS because it's here and it's like it's accessible to us, you know. But Bino, or like if we went to Australia and we watch some Aussie rules football, it would take a while. But as sports people, we would adapt and adjust, and we would have a team, and we would learn to understand those sports. Because our DNA is such that we love the competition, we love the camaraderie, we love the fellowship of being in there with fellow fans watching something, and I really believe that. I think the passion would sweep us all up. I really believe. I could be wrong, but I really believe that.
Yeah, I agree, and that's how fans should be. It shouldn't be, you know, the guy that was yelling at Cattell Marte. That stuff is just ridiculous. I mean, when I was at that Tennessee-Arkansas game, I had my phone out watching Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and me and the Arkansas fans were sitting there watching it together, enjoying it.
Isn't that great?
Not yelling at each other like crazy fools.
Yeah. That's right.
So
that's right. We have something in common. We love the same thing. Why the end result of that is I want to beat the hell out of you makes no sense to me. We're all sports fans. We love the same thing. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, but let's get back to Tennessee football, of which I am overly optimistic. I'm buying the offensive line.
All right. How about Joey Aguilar leads the Vols? Let's go through these. Joey Aguilar leads the Vols to a win over Georgia.
Buy.
Glenn Ellerby has a better offensive line.
Double buy.
Wide receivers are better and are good enough.
I am buying solely due to them being healthy. Everyone we had last year was, you know, Brew McCoy coming off a broken leg.
Poor guy.
Squirrel White, one shoulder.
Poor
trying
guy.
to catch everything with one arm.
The one-winged dove.
And then Dante Thornton, he was great when he was on the field, but that was only 30% of the time, it seems. So
Deshaun Bishop carries the mail in the offensive backfield. He's the star at running back.
I am buying with a caveat. I think it's going to be a two-headed monster, him and Peyton Lewis.
And then Seth Luttrell, my good friend, he has the impact, maybe like a David Cutcliffe had, of restoring order, like the comrade did, who's now down at South Florida.
I am selling him living up to a David Cutcliffe level.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Because that's pretty hard to beat.
How about he helps him, though? How about he helps him, gets him back to the comrade level?
I'll buy.
Because they do need a heavy. Heupel's not a confrontational guy. You can see it in his nature. He's just not. And you need a bad cop, man. Everybody needs a bad cop. And apparently this dude's a bad cop.
Yeah, and I'm buying because he played football with Heupel. And maybe that'll be the voice Heupel needs, someone that was with him for a long time.
Yes.
And can get in his ear and convince him to do something different.
I feel that. And soon somebody going to feel this. Anything else you have for us here?
Specifically to the Georgia game.
Yep.
I mean, that Alabama team last year that beat them at home was not some killer team. They caught them early, caught them off guard.
Here, hang right there. Let's unpack that. To the radio listener, I love you. We are going to do a TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime. In fact, why don't we go there? Check us out at tclub.team, tclub.team.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM.
Translator W259AB.
Powell, Knoxville.
Presented by my friends at TLD Logistics. Ladies and germs, this is unbelievable, Andy. Unbelievable.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
It's unbelievable, Andy. Literally unbelievable.
And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Hey, Brian, look back at your schedule last year. When did Alabama play Georgia, as this man is bringing to our attention? Brian Hartman, lay it on me.
I think it was late in September.
Can you look?
The week that I think it's the same week that Kentucky beat Ole Miss.
Can somebody open their phones and look at it? Does my caller know? Do you know when that was?
Now that is correct, Tony, because I was in Tunica for when both of those games went on. That was at the end of September.
So Bama got Georgia last year at the end of September.
It was our open day after we had played Oklahoma.
That's a day Bino will always remember. And
fourth game of the season.
Fourth game of the season. And we played Georgia in what game of the season this year?
Third.
I love that.
I think.
I love that. So you're with me. I think the earlier that you play somebody that's better than you, the better it is.
Yeah. And I actually listened to a kind of one of these on three things earlier. They had a Georgia guy on there talking about their team. And he said he would not be surprised if they missed the playoffs. He wouldn't bet that, but it wouldn't surprise him. So they're not as high on him as a typical Georgia team. So, it's at home. I mean, crazy stuff happened in that Alabama-Georgia game at home. I mean, Ryan Williams made a couple catches where the Georgia guys, it seemed like they didn't know what was going on. You know, is that crowd? Is it just not being at your home stadium? To where he took to the house, Ryan Williams took it to the house and pirouetted around and made them look like fools. Stuff like that happens when you're at home.
Yes.
So it's possible.
Yeah, Williams made a few plays in space last year, didn't he? That's kind of my thing about the playmaker guys. It only takes one busted play in one of those SEC games to tilt a game. We saw it here in Heupel's breakout year. You know, having that big playability on your team is it's a huge, huge factor in winning those types of games, I think.
I agree. I think we need one of our receivers to become that person that puts a little fear in other defenses. And I actually hope that it's not Mike Matthews, because if it's someone else, and then Mike Matthews can actually be the 5-star he's supposed to be, you got a pretty good combo. And then I'm hoping Heupel can come up with some gadget-type plays for Boo Carter to where if you have that 3-ring circus, then you've got a lot of options to keep defenses on their heels. And that's my hope for the receiving core. If they can get that going, then I think they can really start putting up some points again.
You know, I believe that a Matthews, when he gets on the field against a Georgia and an Alabama, is going to be extra specially motivated because both of those teams essentially told him, you're a safety. You're not a wide receiver. And guys like that, I don't think forget. You know what I mean? Guys like that don't forget, and nor should they. Great point, man. Yeah. You know what I mean, Bino? You know what I mean? I would use that. If I were Kelsey Pope coaching him that week, I'd say, hey, these guys wanted you as a safety, man. It's time for you to show out this week. But go ahead. You were saying, I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I follow a lot of these receivers on Instagram, and they all look in really good shape. They look like they're putting in work. And again, just the health of the room and having some young guys that they haven't seen before. In the last 2 years, we've had receivers that are known commodities to other defenses. You know, it could be an advantage that we have a pretty much entire receiver core that they don't know what is coming at them, what these guys can do or can't do.
No doubt about it.
Could be good.
Thank you, my friend. Great phone call. Thank you. And look, 'tis the season to feel that way. You're in the middle of a long, hot summer. And as I wrote in the blog today, soon the nights will get cooler. It's hard to believe that, though, when you're in the throes of late June, early July, especially when we get these pressure cooker weeks like the past week and a half we had. We're supposed to get, like, storms tomorrow. I don't think I've ever cheered for rain more than I'm cheering for it tomorrow. Just to cool things off.
Tony, I think the caller's in basically the same boat I'm in, and it does require some faith in something that you haven't seen yet. But I do think Boo Carter has to be a part of this. But I think that we have the ability on campus for someone to emerge, two guys to emerge as top line receivers, just like we saw with both Tillman and Hyatt before.
Well, and if it doesn't happen, then you got to really start pointing fingers at this Pope guy.
Yes, or at the evaluation of the receivers that you're signing.
Yes. If you don't have somebody emerge this year, you officially suck at it at this level. That's a lot of potential bodies over there. I mean, surely one guy is going to pop. My thing is, Bino, I think you need three, but it would be nice to have one high-end playmaker emerge. Because as of right now, you just don't have it.
Yeah.
You just don't have it right now.
If Boo Carter and Matthews emerge, which are my belief, my expectations, then I think there are plenty enough other options over there for your third guy. The rest of those guys have to come on to be your third guy, which doesn't require as much production as 1 and 2.
So, a couple things I want to point out here over on our YouTube channel, which I'm going to start referencing this going forward, our YouTubers and their comments. So it's a great place for you to interface with us on our YouTube channel. Sugarnaut says, I remembers all the tie games under majors. We all do. If you made me king, I'd bring tie games back in college football. I like tie games a lot better than I like the stupid overtime format. Melvin Ferguson says, what Hype took over versus what Fulmer took over was about as different as could be. Yes. And no. Jeremy Pruitt left him some pretty good football players in retrospect. And Hendon Hooker, who's the best quarterback we've seen in 20-plus years here, was on this campus. So I'd say yes and no to that. Yes and no. But what Fulmer took over was a car going 60 miles an hour, and he made it go about 115 or 120. They sped that thing up. Maybe the car was going 75 miles an hour, and he got it at well over 100. They were a high-performance automobile under him. Rodney says the schedule matters for both those guys you start comparing. LSU back then had freaking Curly Hallman, and Georgia and Bama were both bad in the 90s. I think that's accurate, Bino. I think that's another reason why the 90s were a real heyday for Tennessee, and you could have stacked a ton of trophies if Spurrier wasn't in the way. It was a real tweener and downtime in the league. Versus now, it's a meat grinder. However, the last 2 years for Heupel, you've had relatively easy schedules. This year, last year, and this season are two relatively easy schedules. What do you think?
Yeah, during the 90s, it was the Western Division teams just were not good. They just weren't. Alabama and LSU were both down. Georgia was pretty good, but nowhere near as good as Tennessee and Florida. Through the 90s, most years, this was a 2 to 3 team league.
Big Papa says the following. I'm glad to see you on YouTube, Tony. Listening started during the Dooley years and all through Schiano. Extremely proud of what you've done. Long live Basilio. Thank you, Papa. Papa, do you believe that there's a guy in here and some other people that think I'm cheering against him with this football program after doing hours and hours and hours of Butch Jones and Dooley conversation and Pruitt conversation and living through Schiano's Sunday where we were on for 11 hours and Why in God's green earth do people think I'm rooting against this football coach? That's the most idiotic thing in the world, especially when I think Josh Heupel's a pretty good dude that's pretty good to people. Very easy to root for guy. I mean, I don't know. Jeff Harrison asks you, Bino, how can the offensive line be better when Cooper was a 3-year starter and you're losing all those veterans? How could the offensive line be better, Bino, than it was last year? How does that work? He wants to know. With all the newcomers, what do you say to that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if better is the right term. I thought our offense, again, I thought our offensive line has been better than most people over the last several years. And I think the numbers suggest that as well. With and I know you can this is an offense that runs against light fronts, so you're always going to have a pretty good running team.
Yep.
But they've also, I mean, if you can believe the numbers out there, they protected their quarterback better than most anyone else in the SEC has over the last couple of years too. So I think that what I'm saying is I don't believe the offensive line is going to be a big issue this year.
Sam Schrock says, tackle play alone should make the offensive line much better this year. Lance Hurd was injured. He was out of shape, and he's apparently back to full strength now. I think that's right. Now, Hurd was the odd man out at LSU, which I don't know what that means. I don't know what to make of that. Again, that would motivate me if I were him. If I knew that I was the guy that kind of was the odd man out there at LSU, even though he was a 5-star player. And I'm back to this. He was a young offensive lineman, and that is a very, very hard position to play right away at this level. The Tennessee's going to need two of those guys two of the youngsters to emerge this year. The Sanders kid, and then Satterwhite, who's been in the program, but still. I guess, if I had one concern, it would be that sometimes at this level, it takes a while to get cohesion there, which might be a good argument for why we'd want to see the Georgia game a little later on. Then again, all things being equal, I want to get Georgia while that quarterback is still trying, and they're still trying, and all those receivers they brought in, I want to get Georgia while they're still trying to ramp that deal up. Playing them in September, I think, is advantageous for that reason. But let's go back to the phones.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, one quick sideline on the Georgia game. I've got a buddy that's a former high school football coach, and he was on a staff with a big Georgia fan, and they always go back and forth. And one of the things my buddy has always held over his Georgia fan coaching staff member's head was, we beat you 9 in a row. You will never, ever beat us 9 in a row. This year is their opportunity to do that. So it'd be a sweet victory for my buddy if we could take down Georgia in September.
Think about this. If it weren't for a massive rally and an answered Hail Mary, that streak would be at 14.
Yeah.
You'd have to go back to 2009, Kiffin's lone year.
Yeah.
Are you kidding, Brian?
Wow.
No, they went on Dooley was here, and he lost 4 in a row. 2010 through 14, that was 5 in a row. Then 15 and 16, you had the Butch Jones miracles. And then that was the last win, was the Jennings Hail Mary catch.
Did you realize that, Bino? Georgia's win streak will be 14 over us?
Well, of course not, Tony. You know I didn't realize
I didn't realize that. But
just something to think about. I mean, it's not, but I mean, if you don't have that mass, they were down, 21 points at home that one year when Dobbs went through the Dobbs nail, I guess when he ran over a couple Georgia players in the end zone and got the winning TD, and that was at home. And then the next year on the road in Athens, the Hail Mary to Jennings.
So
Dobbs turned into a Superman.
So Tennessee lost 8 straight to the Dogs and has a 9-game winning streak over them. When did that 9-game winning streak occur, Bino?
Let's see, Tony, from I believe it started in 92 when they first began to play them annually. I think it was the first 9 games of after starting in 92.
So 92 to like 90 to 2000.
92 to 2000.
To 2000, yeah. And back then, that was the old radio days, right? You go to, like, you didn't have the internet, so you'd have to wait till it got dark at night. Kids, I'm not kidding you. And then you'd listen to WSB out of Atlanta, and you'd listen to their call-in show. I'll never forget that game in 98 when they talked more trash. Old Calfhead, Jim Donnan was on there talking more trash against us. They're going to do this. They're going to get us. They're going to get us. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And I mean, Tennessee went out there and beat the absolute piss out of them. You were there, weren't you, Bino? They physically, and if I'm not mistaken, is that the week we lost Jamal Lewis?
Yes.
Lost Jamal Lewis against Auburn.
And literally went out there and beat them. I mean, physically destroyed their football team. Broke their spirit, broke their will. Took over their stadium in the fourth quarter. What I wouldn't give to go back to a few of those days. You know? So let's go back to the phones. TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime presented by our friends at TLD Logistics Online, tldlogistics.com. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Hi.
What's up, Tony? Joshy boy.
Wingzo. Hey, Wingzo.
Yeah.
Black Diamond watermelons, at where you guys have them. Seeded or seedless?
They're seeded.
Ah, my boy.
Is that why you called last night?
Yeah. I was getting ready to pick one up. And inquiring minds wanted to know, brah.
I was taking a nap, so that's
hey, listen, naps, as one of my health gurus likes to tell me, naps are encouraged.
Tony, do you or Bino want to take a stab at who Lindy's has projected as Tennessee's starting offensive line this season?
I've cheated, Joshy boy, because I just looked at that.
Well, Tony, you want to take a stab at that? Predict?
Tony's stepped away for just a second, Joshy, but go ahead and they've got Lance Hurt at left tackle. They got Wendell Moe at left guard. They got Satterwhite at center. They got Pendleton at right guard, and they got David Sanders Jr. at right tackle.
Yes. Yep. You think they got that pretty head on? Do you think that'll be pretty accurate? You know?
Yeah, I would think so, Josh. I would think that's the best. I think that has the best chance of being our starting offensive line. What about you? Who do you think they've got wrong?
I don't think they got anybody wrong. I think they nailed it. Right on the head, yeah.
Yeah, I would think that was, and I'm sure all that depends on Satterwhite being able to actually step in there and take over that center position.
Yeah. So, Bino, Bronny, Tony, how long do you think the quarterback competition will go on heading into fall camp before Heupel makes a decision on the starting quarterback?
I think the midway point at camp is probably when you have to make that, or when it's ideal to make that decision, Josh. I don't know how close those guys are, but we'll find that out as we go along. I don't think it's I don't think it's set in stone that Aguilar will start, but I think it's highly likely that he's your game one starter.
It would not be a good sign if he doesn't win the job.
Right.
In my mind. But then again,
yeah.
Then again, maybe if the other kid comes in and he has such a great camp, maybe it is a good sign.
Yeah, either that, as you said, it's either a bad sign or Mark Linger's better than we think that he is.
Yep.
I was looking at the schedule, just glancing over it. If you somehow drop the Syracuse game somehow in the first game and start out 2-2 heading into the UAB game, then do you make a change then, or do you wait till about the Mississippi State or Arkansas game?
Talking about a quarterback change?
Yeah.
I don't know why I lost those games. I might be good offensively, and it might be that my secondary's leaky because my best corner's not back there.
Yeah. How long do they anticipate him being out for, Tony?
Nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows.
They're being quiet on that, aren't they?
Well, I mean, just nobody knows. I mean, you don't know how. I mean, Throaty was talking Friday like, glass half full. He gets back early October. Look, he gets back early October. You're lucky.
But, Tony, what if the offense sucks? They start out 2-2, and the defense is excellent like last year.
There you go. Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right. I mean, I preached it a lot before, Tony. This Heupel guy, and I know other SEC coaches do it and other coaches in conferences, but this Heupel guy has to get the road stinker off his back. They have to win that Mississippi State game and the Kentucky game this year.
Are those the two candidates for the road stinkers?
Yep, that's who I have it for.
You have any, Bino? Or any, Bry? Bry, do you have any for the road stinker? Could Florida this year qualify as the road stinker, or is it Florida
Yes.
different kettle of fish, Bry?
I think Florida could qualify, but they haven't won there in 22 years. Same with Bama. So
yeah,
I think definitely Florida, because I believe that team could be all beat to hell.
Are you telling me Tennessee hasn't won at Florida in 22 years, Bry?
2003.
Shit.
Yeah, 03.
How is that possible, Bino? As bad as Florida's been.
I have no idea, Tony, how that's possible. That I have no explanation for that series as a whole.
I mean, the Alabama thing, I totally get. Death Star, killing everybody.
Right.
Whatever. That deal, Joshy boy?
That deal?
That deal?
I don't get that.
I don't get that deal, man.
There's been some years when we went to Gainesville and we had a better team than Florida. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the man, dude.
Hey, Tony, I'm going to give you guys and whoever wants to bet on it, I don't want to say like a lock or free winner, but because never
give me a free winner.
Is a lock.
I want a free lock. Hit it. Free
but
lock.
South Carolina over 7.5 wins this season. I think they get 8 or 9. And I'm going to take a sprinkle on them at 16-1 to win the SEC.
Thank you, Joshy boy. How about that, Bino? He's going to sprinkle a little dough on them at 16-1 to win the league. Now, would that be the regular season, Bino? Is that what he's talking about, or is that the SEC championship?
I would think that has to be the SEC championship, Tony.
Joshy boy, I wouldn't spend a nickel on that. Now, if you want to sprinkle some money on them to make a playoff, I got you there. I wouldn't bet a damn dime on them to do that. Now, the over 7.5, I feel that. What do you think, Bino? A comeback year for South Carolina or a comeback to the pack year? What do you got?
Tony, generally speaking, when a lot's expected of South Carolina, little is delivered. and they're going to have more expectations on them this year, and they've still got a brutal schedule.
Hey, Lou. How you doing, girl? What you doing? Did you like seeing Jennifer Morris today? She bring you treats. Let's go back to the phones. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony, Madison in Texas. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Madison. Great to talk to you, my friend.
Great to talk to you guys. So I'm going to start with a trivia question, and then I'm going to get into some analysis here because I'm worried that a few people aren't appreciating Aguilar and what he's accomplished at this level. So here's the fact. Aguilar has thrown for 3,000 yards in 2 consecutive seasons. How many Tennessee quarterbacks have thrown for 3,000 yards 2 times in their career?
3,000 yards, Bino, twice in their career. What do you got, Bino? Answer that.
Have no idea, Tony. I don't know that it's happened.
I think Manning is one of them, right? Did Manning do it?
I would think so if
that's right.
That's occurred.
That's
all right, so Manning's one of them.
Let's see.
Did
3,000 yards more than once in his career?
Did Clausen do it?
He did not.
All right, that's interesting.
Ainge? No Ainge.
Did Andy Kelly do it?
He did not.
Wow.
Okay.
3,000
Let's say
yards.
1 then. I'm going to go with 1.
And that's the correct answer. Only one quarterback in Tennessee history has thrown for 3,000 yards 2 times in his career, and that is Mr. Peyton Manning. So I'm getting a lot of feeling like people think that Aguilar is mid, and if you think that, either you haven't flipped on the tape or you don't know what you're looking at. This guy is an overachieving quarterback in a bad offense, and so I just appreciate him. I'm excited for him to be here. He actually wants to be here. I mean, Ian Maliava, I don't ever want to see that knuckle dragger again, so he can go do whatever he wants to do. I'm behind Joey football, and you know what, Tony? When I look at the schedule, I don't know if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid or not, but I was pretty down on him before they got Joey. I'm looking at the schedule, and it looks almost easier than last year. I mean, I'm in the camp of last year.
Oh, it's an easy schedule. This thing is a layup. It's a shame that quarterback chose to do what he did and pulled the trick on them. And I don't think the guy was great, but it's a shame that happened because this schedule this year is a stone cold layup, man, when you look at it. You could have won 10 games blindfolded with this schedule. And you still might.
Oh, yeah.
And you still might. You still might.
Well, I tend to think that Aguilar, I mean, he's an overachieving college quarterback. Nico is not. He's an underachieving college quarterback. And, I mean, I think he's an upgrade. I really do. I think he's going to be better. Now, when you look at the offensive line, pretty poor last year, especially at the tackles, can only get better. As long as the defense doesn't take a major step back, which, you know what? Hey, it might. I mean, it was really good last year.
Sure, it might. Sure, it might. Yep.
I've got questions in the secondary and Willie social distancing Martinez. I don't know why he's still working there. But, I'll put those aside. It's talking season. Man, I wouldn't be surprised to see us back in the playoffs. I really wouldn't when I look at the schedule and I think about what we got. So I'll be positive on this one. But Tony, I'm getting pretty excited hearing you guys talk football.
Well, you fired me up, focused me, and prepared me today, brother. I gotta say that you pumped me up to no end.
I appreciate that, Tony. GTT gone to Texas, baby. We'll talk to you guys later.
Let's go on your TLD Logistics phone lines. I've had calls from all over the country today. And Randy over on YouTube says, can somebody tell this guy that he accomplished that against low-level competition? I mean, yeah, that's true. He didn't do it in the SEC. And he wasn't. People weren't exactly beating that kid's door down to take him here, and he ended up at a UCLA program. It's kind of cash poor. The other part of that is, though, he wanted to go back home because he's a West Coast kid. And they completely shat on him. Let's just call this what it is. When you bring a guy home, walk him through a spring practice, make him go through a night where he's in an autograph session for a bunch of kids that are on the field, and then the whole time he knows in the back of his head, they've got this Nico guy on the campus right now, and they're trying to give him my job. That's got to be a terrible feeling, what this Aguilar guy went through, Bino. That really kind of sucks if you stop and think about it.
Yeah, I'm really, really pulling for him, Tony, just because of the situation more than anything else. I can't imagine that most people around the country aren't going to be pulling for him, but because of just what you've laid out there. And probably no fault of Nico's, most people are going to be pulling against him.
I think the point that Matt Dixon brings up about Joey Football is an excellent one, which is this. Joseph Football, as we call him, Brian, me and you. Joseph Football.
What?
You like to say people's name and put their proper
name on it?
Yeah. Joseph Football might flourish in this offense because it's hard to rack up interceptions in Heupel's offense because really they want to get the ball out. They want to get it to the perimeter. They want to throw not 50-50 balls. They want the ball out. They don't want you thinking back there. And this kid, one of the things he does do well is throw the long ball. And look, maybe I'm passing it out in long supply right now, but I mean, I love a good storyline and the narrative that Heupel can't find quarterbacks. If this guy explodes, Bino, that's going to be the narrative. It's going to be the second time we brought a guy in through like a weird sort of shotgun marriage, and it worked out. It's going to be really strange, Bino, if that happens, right? Really strange. And it could happen.
I hope that's the narrative.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious. I mean, I keep using the term hilarious, but it would be hilarious if that kid came in here and balled out and went off. It would be, and Bino's right, the entire country, the fellow coaches, all the coaches around the country are cheering for two things. They're cheering for Joey Aguilar to play well, and they're cheering for Nico, I'm never going to leave you, to have a joke career from here and flame out. They want that kid. They want an example to be made of him.
Who's a better coach, Foster or Heupel? How dumb a question is that?
Say that again.
You have to look at the coaching. Deshaun Foster or Josh Heupel?
Oh, yeah.
I would bet on Heupel. With maybe what you think is a lesser QB than, because I don't know that Nico is a whole lot better from what he proved.
Bino, what kind of years Nico have, you think?
I think if Nico left for a better situation, he failed miserably. I don't think there's any way in the world that we're talking about our issues here. I don't think there's any way in the world that they have a roster as good as Tennessee's, anywhere close.
Bino, do you find him to be a first-round pick, Bino?
I do not, based on what I've seen. I'm not a scout. I don't know what they look for, but if they're looking for seeing the field and controlling an offense, I think that if anybody takes him in the first round, they've completely wasted a pick.
Sugarnaut over here on YouTube is not being prone to hyperbole. He just referred to Joey Football as Brock Purdy with size and an arm. Let's go to the phones. On our TLD Logistics phone line, hello and welcome in.
Hey, Tony, this is Strider.
Hey, Stride, welcome in, buddy.
Hey, man, before I play your buy it or sell it game, I'd like to talk a little bit about Colorado's national championship.
Yep.
Okay. We tie them simply because, well, I won't mention a name, but a running back tried to score even after Andy Kelly told him, once you get your first down, either step out of bounds or go down. It had it at about the 20 for a chip shot field goal to win. I'm sure you remember that.
I do remember that, yep.
Well, okay. And then later in the season, Colorado beats Missouri by scoring a touchdown at the end of the game on 5th down. You remember
Yeah,
that?
fifth and go. Fifth and go. Mm-hmm.
Was that Colorado or was that Nebraska that had that happen? I thought
That
it was
Colorado.
It was Colorado against Nebraska, I believe.
It was against Missouri.
Oh, okay. I thought it was against Nebraska.
Well, I was pretty sure it was Missouri. Maybe it could have been Nebraska, but that was the first year you could spike the ball to stop the clock. And I don't know what the officials. I mean, how many officials are there? 7, and they didn't know that they spiked the ball on 4th down, and they were given a 5th down to win the ball game. I mean, that was just horrible. They don't even sniff a national championship if those two things don't happen. And they did share the national championship that year with Georgia Tech.
Yep. You're right. It was October 6, 1990, and it was called the 5th down game, and it was against Mizzou, a 31-31 tie.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. A 33-31 win. They ended up scoring a touchdown. You're right. It's even better. They won the game.
On 5th down. It should have been Missouri's ball, and yet they're allowed a 5th down. And like I say, how many officials they have these days? 7 officials. None of them knew it was 4th down. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I think that's why the coaches poll, gave the national championship to Georgia Tech, because they knew Colorado shouldn't even been playing for it.
That's wild. And that day, Georgia Tech rolled out there and beat the absolute piss out of somebody in a bowl game. Do you guys remember who it was? Was it Nebraska?
I don't remember.
That January 1st game, they beat the absolute just dog doo-doo out of somebody.
I can't remember that. I can't remember their opponent. Oh, you got to add somebody else in there too, Strider. Not only the officiating crew, but whoever was keeping the down marker. Had it wrong as well.
Yeah, I mean that was just, unbelievably bad.
That's some sports entertainment right there, boys.
Yeah, that's like wrestling, isn't it, Tony?
No doubt about it.
Okay, what are the questions on the buy and sell?
Buy and sell. Joey Aguilar beats Georgia.
I'm going to have to sell that one.
All right. Second question. Why receiving core is better than last year?
Oh, I'm buying that all day long. And a matter of fact, I think our receiving core would have been much better last year if we had a quarterback that could process at the line of scrimmage and hit a deep ball. And this guy that we're getting, he can hit the deep ball.
Next question. Offensive line's better than last year.
I think it's going to be about the same, simply because we lost Mays and he was such an anchor. I think we may be more talented at the other offensive line positions, but not at center.
Deshaun Bishop is the breakout running back of the year. Nothing against Peyton Lewis, but Bishop's going to be the man. Instead of just a pawn.
I sure do like Bishop, but I think it's going to be like somebody else said earlier, either a 2-headed monster or maybe even a 3-headed monster. That kid from Duke come in for a change of pace every now and then. But I think Bishop and Lewis are both going to be pretty darn effective.
And following Seth Luttrell, and finally Seth Luttrell restores order to Tennessee's offensive side of the ball. The former Oklahoma fullback, one of Heupel's best friends, comes back and is a good heavy in the offensive room.
What's his coaching position?
He's an analyst.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's going to. I'll buy that one.
Yep.
Oh, and another analyst we added on the defensive side. Who was it?
Marion Hobby.
Yes. I'm kind of reading between the lines here, but analysts don't make a whole lot of money, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So he's been a defensive line coach at the college and professional level. The only reason, and I hope I'm wrong, that I can see that he's coming back as an analyst is that Rodney Gardner's going to hang it up after this year.
Boy, I hope you're wrong, because he has been, without a doubt, MVP recruiter for them, man.
Yes. not only is he a great recruiter, he's a great coach.
Oh, he's a hell of a coach. All these years about him just being a recruiting hired gun, it's total, complete bullshit is what that is. He is a great
I
position
agree.
coach.
I mean, look what he
great
did.
Coach.
Look what he's done with the defensive linemen since he's been here.
Yes.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
And I've told him that down through the years. I told him that when he came on the show when he was with Auburn. I mean, that whole thing about that narrative about him just being a hired gun, everywhere that guy's been, he's had and developed great players. That's not accidental. He's had and developed them.
You know, in the offseason when Tim Banks was kind of threatening to leave, I wasn't very upset about it because I thought, well, surely they'll promote Garner to defensive coordinator, which I think he actually deserves to be a DC somewhere.
I wonder if he doesn't want to do it. I wonder if that's why.
Yeah, I wonder that too, Tony.
Maybe he knows that he's just happy being happy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
He's making great money.
Yeah, I was going to say he gets pretty good paycheck, so
it's a little better than mine, Strider.
It's a hell of a lot better than mine, buddy. I'll tell you that.
Well, thank you, my brother. Great talking to you. Incredible phone call by him. And that's going to do it for us. Bino, Jeff, and Brian, any final thoughts for us? Incredible work by both of you on this smoking hot June day.
Happy fiscal New Year.
Yeah, Tony, it's been a lot of fun. I enjoyed the football talk today, and I hope everyone has a blessed and safe 4th of July.
And we're going to come back tomorrow and continue on this tip. Tomorrow, Robert Killer Kowalski has given me the lines on our faux SEC versus Big Ten football. What would it look like? How would it play out? And we'll go through it tomorrow on the air. You'll see it at tclub.team as well tomorrow if you want to share it around. But it's kind of interesting what those numbers will look like from a real Vegas odds maker. Bino and Brian, any final thoughts for us? You boys are incredible. Thank you, guys. Love both of you. Keep keeping on, Briney boy. Keep looking up. Bino, thank you. Till we meet again, for all those behind the scenes, this is Tony B saying have yourself a blessed. What are we doing here? Whoa. Have a blessed day. We love you. Peace. Let's see here.
FM. Translator W259AP. Powell, Knoxville.
Fired up, folky, prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, get pumped. Get pumped with us. We're pumped with you. Excited to be here on a Monday. Shout out to the great Jennifer Morris. We were in here today, if you heard us, about an hour or so ago. Working on some new stuff for her. She's the best. We're ready to roll. It's a Monday. It's a 4th of July week. Laura told me several weeks ago to take off this week. But that's just not in my nature. Not because I hate you. Special thanks to Bino and the chef and Bry for letting me have a day off on Friday. Race fans. And don't get behind the 8 ball here in these parts allergy-wise. If you get behind the 8 ball and your nose is as big as mine, it's a major issue. But I digress because I love you. And we're here today to do our thing. And our thing is what we're going to do. And today on the program, by the way, special shout out to Danny White. Congratulations to Danny White, who is Sports Business Journal's AD of the Year. And Ben Portnoy, who wrote the piece on him, the Sports Business Journal, says that he arrived in Knoxville amid a flurry of chaos, and in 4 years, he has Tennessee humming like a Ferrari with no intention of slowing down. And so Danny White is Sports Business Journal's AD of the Year, which is a huge honor in the profession of professional sports and high-level college sports. Sports Business Journal is a highly respected publication. Now, it's voted on basically by a party of just a few. It's not like one of these sanctioned college awards. Basically, it's somebody's opinion, but aren't all these things somebody's opinion? So it wasn't a peer-to-peer award, but still, it's quite prominent and quite prestigious. So congratulations to Danny White for that. Orange Throat today over at tclub.team, where we have a 5,000-word blog for you. Yes, we're at the end of June, and yes, we have a 5,000-word blog for you, complete with Orange Throat's take on what we're going to see football-wise, a glass-half-full take instead of a glass-half-empty take. And then our recruiting expert, X, talking about the huge shot in the arm that Tennessee got over the weekend as they got maybe a legendary commitment. Let's hope it holds. Legend Bay, tremendous athlete,